me call the meeting to order. This is a regularly scheduled Greer City Council meeting called and convened October 14th, 2014, and being duly assembled. We start our meetings off with the Pledge of Allegiance and an invocation. I saw some Boy Scouts come in just a little while ago, and while I don't have your information, I'm going to impose on you, and I believe, let me see a sleeve, Troop 925 or 825? 925, Troop 925, I believe their leaders are here with them. I'd like to ask if we've got a patrol leader or somebody, got the patrol leader with us right there. I'd like to ask for you to lead your troop and this crowd this evening in the Pledge of Allegiance, which we will of course stand for, and we will remain standing for our invocation by Councilman Riley Davis. Gentlemen, the floor is yours. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Most kind and gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for another wonderful day. We thank you for all the many blessings that you bring to our great city. We ask that you guide and direct all members of council tonight to make decisions that are pleasing in your sight and that are in keeping with your teachings. We ask that you keep our service members and their family close and in your loving arms and protect them. And we thank you, Lord, for loaning us our brother Russ Castle for a short 60 years and for the great influence that he's had over many, many people. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
I want to welcome everybody that has joined us this evening. We've got a full house, and especially welcome our Boy Scouts. We thank you for your presence this evening and for what you do for our community. As a former Scout, I urge you to take advantage of that program. The leadership skills and other life skills that you'll acquire in that program will serve you well for many years. And so thank you for coming. At some point in time, you'll probably have to slip out before this meeting is over, according to the agenda, but feel free to do that. Thank you for joining us this evening. With that then, we'll move to the public forum. We set aside a time at the first of our meetings for public forum. Those folks that would like to speak to an item in regards to our agenda. Ms. Duncan, anyone to speak in public forum this evening?
No, sir.
With that then, we'll move on to the minutes of the council meeting. You have in your packet September 23rd meeting there. I will entertain a motion to receive the minutes.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second in that regard. Any additions or deletions or corrections for note for the clerk? Hearing none. Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Arrowwood?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Ms. Booker?
Yes.
Mr. Dumas?
Yes.
Mr. Bettis?
Yes.
Ms. Albert? Yes. Mayor Danner?
Yes. From time to time, we like to take a moment to recognize employees who have reached a milestone in terms of length of service with the city. We're always glad to do this and to recognize those dedicated employees who have devoted a number of years of their working career to the city to help make it a better place. And this is just a small way for us to recognize them. We give them a resolution that congratulates them and awards them a little perk later on in this. So I want to read the resolution, and then we will individually ask each member to come up after that. This is a resolution recognizing and commending City of Greer employees, and says, whereas the City of Greer endeavors to recognize and reward its dedicated and faithful employees, and whereas Kara Blackwell has served in the police department for 10 years. Shenra Jackson Cunningham served in the police department for 10 years. Randall Hipp has served in the fire department for 10 years. Carl Howell has served in the fire department for 10 years. Carol Reynolds has served in the municipal court for 10 years. Marty Knight has served in the Recreation Department for 20 years, and Eric Presley has served in the Police Department for 20 years. And whereas these employees have served in a distinguished and professional manner, now be it therefore resolved that the City Council of the City of Greer, South Carolina, in a meeting duly assembled, wishes to officially recognize and commend these employees for their distinguished and dedicated service which they have performed. And be it further resolved that the City of Greer hereby rewards these dedicated employees with a certificate of appreciation and an administrative day off with pay, approved this the 14th day of October 2014. With that, I'd like to ask Kara Blackville to come up. Is she here? Yeah, I see her right there. Hold on just to read the rest of the names. Yeah, right there would be correct. Ms. Cunningham. Is Ms. Cunningham with us this evening? There, okay. All right. Thank you for joining us as well, too. Thank you so much. Randall Hill. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Carl Howell. Thank you, cuz. We're family by in-laws. Carol Reynolds. Marty Knight. Appreciate it. And Eric Presley. Join me in giving these folks a round of applause. With that, we'll move on to the next item this evening, which is a presentation. Throughout the course of the year, we will have individual departments come and make a presentation in regards to an update for events of the past year and some of the things that will be going on in the coming year as well, too. This is an opportunity, just like our employee recognition, to recognize our various different departments and the various services that they provide for our city. This is an evening that we would ask Skipper Burns, who is our Director of Public Services, to join us and talk about the all-important Public Services Department, which is one of those departments that we don't tell them thank you enough when things are going good, but we're always quick to tell them when things aren't going so good. So with that, Skipper, let us take this opportunity even before the presentation to thank you for all that you and your men and ladies do for us throughout the course of the year, come rain, sleet, snow, or whatever else they might throw at us, and we appreciate it, sir.
Okay. Mayor and Council, thank you for this opportunity to give you a little information on what Public Service has been doing in the past year. We'll start out with our solid waste, our garbage. You see we've been tracking since back around 2007, 2008. This year in 2013-14, we are up about 600 tons. We've also increased our residents by about 97 new cans have been put out. So to us, that's 97 new homes that have come online and we're picking up now. This year I did something a little different. I also started tracking the yard waste. Brush, yard waste, yard debris, and up to June of the end of June of 14, we've carried 950 tons in this same year to the landfill of yard waste. Okay. Then street signs this year, you see those numbers are down a little bit. We haven't replaced as many posts. That means we haven't had as many damaged and tore up. The street names signs, we have been trying to get those all upgraded to the retro reflective and everything, and also put the G symbol on the end of them. And last year we did a big push and got most of those. So this year we only had to do about 64 of those, and we're still working on that year to year. Stop signs, we replaced those with the retro reflective. Last year we did 68. This year we had less to do. We only did 8. Miscellaneous repairs. This is where they're vandalized or torn down from whatever wrecks or whatever. We only had 12. We also did the inland port truck route. This was done as per DOT. Don and DOT got together and met and decided what signage at what locations. And when we all got all that figured out, we installed 140 signs in 34 locations. This year, our leaf collection, we will be starting that up very soon. Steve and I have worked, and we have changed our face on this a little bit. We're going to change our calendar so it is actually a cutout that the resident can take, post somewhere if he would like. And we hope this will help our residents and make it a little simpler to know when they're going to be in their area. This mail out will be sent out the last week of October, and the first week of collection will start November 3rd and will run through February 6th week. We all remember the snow event we had back in February. Public service crews were there. We traveled 1,285 miles sanding and plowing. We put out approximately 50 tons of sand on bridges and other icy spots. During these type of events, we keep personnel at the OC around the clock, and so we logged 319 hours of overtime. Curbside recycling, those numbers are down, and you see how we've dropped off from 2012, 2013 to 2013, 2014 on the paper. Cardboard is considerably down. Tires were down just a little bit. We are looking at what we can do to try to increase our curbside participation. Steve and I have been trying to come up with some kind of mail out brochure we can hand out and get out to our residents to see if we can increase these numbers. At the recycle center, again, you see that the cardboard from 12, 13, 13, 14 has remained almost exactly the same on the paper, excuse me. And then the cardboard, you see, is about half. You see tires are down over 200. Plastic has remained real close to the same. The metal, we used to collect it in just the aluminum and track it just the aluminum. But you see that number less than a ton for 12, 13 here. We've decided to put it all together, and all of our white goods, all of our metal of any kind, aluminum all goes together. And so this year we had 17 tons. You see our resident count is up, and I don't know if they're coming more often and bringing less material each trip or what. We're not sure what's going on, and the count going up and the tonnage going down. Recycle bins. This right here is what has been requested by residents and the number of residents that are using it. The blue line shows residents that are curbside recycling. In 2010, 2011, we had 1,136. In 2011, 2012, we went down to 1084. And then in 2012, 2013, we went back up to 1545. And then we're back down a little bit this year in 13 and 14 to 1288. And this count was completed in April this year. Then the yellow line shows the residents that are requesting bins. And you can see in the 10, 11, 11, 12, they stayed real close to the same. And then we had an increase in 12 and 13 and just barely a decrease in 13, 14. Amnesty Day this year, held late April. And this year was probably the largest turnout we've had. We had 269 residents came out and participated. And as you can see, we're up on all the numbers. The resident count was up, the gallons of paint, the chemicals, the tires, everything we did. The e-waste went up considerably. The only thing we dropped a little bit was the prescription drug take back that the police department does for us. And had our green team out, and they are also out trying to promote and encourage people to recycle, and they were giving some giveaway items like cups and magnets and pens and this kind of stuff to some of our residents. We're already working and trying to plan this event for next year. Mechanic shop, as you can see, vehicles serviced, that number's up. Vehicles repaired, we're up again. Tire replacement stayed the same, and our road calls went down just a little. One of the other things you know we do is we cut back right-of-ways. The picture on the left is a section of Tri-Line Street, and it has become very overgrown. The sidewalk had so much grass overgrown and leaves and pine needles that you just about couldn't find the sidewalk. So we went in and cut everything back, raised the canopy, broomed, swept everything, and tried to make this a little more attractive looking, a little bit more of a sidewalk that residents could travel. Sidewalk repair. This year we have repaired over 360 foot of sidewalk. Most of that's been done over in the East Fairview and East Arlington Avenue area. We're trying to get our sidewalks in better condition for our residents and to remove trip hazards. We've added handicap ramps in this area. We had a gentleman over there that requested some help as he needed to navigate some curbing and everything. Storm drain repair. This year with the rain, we've had a few sinkholes pop up places that we didn't expect to have. The picture on the left is over on Overbrook. We had a sinkhole, came in the asphalt there next to the storm box, and so we had to cut asphalt, go in, figure out what was broken, and go from there. And then the other one over here is a sinkhole we had, I think Mr. Bettis had something to do with it, over at Jackson and Arlington. That little hole right there ended up turning into be almost a nightmare. We're back up here. We had more bad pipe than we had good. So we ended up tearing out most of that pipe. We had one whole section of steel pipe under Arlington that had rotted away. Wasn't anything but a top. And so we ended up pulling all that out, putting all concrete pipe back, rebuild the box, and get everything to line back up. Ditches and outfalls. With all the rain, we've had a lot of those that were not functioning as well as they needed to. Over 500 foot of ditch line and outfalls reworked to control erosion. This picture is at Mount Vernon, and we cleaned out this ditch. We installed some what we call geotech fabric, and then riprap on top of it. And if you're familiar with this location, this actually goes down and turns back right there on Mount Vernon and ends up back over on the edge of Brookwood. So we were having some issues over on Brookwood with some flooding, and so we did this to try to correct some of those problems. This is another one. We're in the neighborhood, Fernwood Drive. This was one running between two properties, and we actually had a sinkhole came on the edge of the roadway. So we went in there and repaired the pipe and then put the riprap to try to control that from eroding. This is another one over on Grove. It had become so overgrown with vines and everything that the water was flooding the road, running across the road. So we cleaned this one out. Now our Bill Maintenance, our maintenance supervisor, this is some of the things he's been working on this year. We've had a couple of street lamps that were knocked down in our Trade Street area, automobiles or whatever, they got broken. So we had to go in there and reset the bolts to hold these like fixtures and get CPW to put them back up. And then We also have upgraded the lamps from a 32 to a 25 watt, 40,000 hour bulb in the City Hall building and in our police and court building. Some of the other things we do, you know, we mow street right-of-ways, we spray street right-of-ways, we mow cemeteries as needed, we set up and take down for events, we put up and remove Christmas decorations, we do maintenance on our equipment, that's our chainsaws, lawnmowers, that kind of stuff. We paint our railroad crossings, our parking lots, and crosswalks uptown. Of course, we're always on night and weekend calls and events that where the police need us to come out, barricade a road, or fire needs us to come out and help them with a barricade or whatever. And then training, each quarter, public service, we try to do at least 3 online training classes, and we're doing these through our online municipal association training. That is about all I have. If you have any questions.
Council?
I'd just like to say thank you for all the problems that you have to solve this year, throughout the year.
Thanks,
So I
sir.
really appreciate it. Seems like on every coverage I got a problem.
Thank you.
Skipper, some of the examples that you gave where you did done work with riprap and open ditches and that sort of thing, does that qualify under our stormwater management program? The funds come out of the stormwater for that program, or are we operating out of the general budget on?
I usually get Dawn. We usually get stormwater. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That then we'll move to the administrator's report. Mr. Driggers.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Several items to update you on this evening. One is a landmark celebration for us as we roll into November. You've received some information on this event. We certainly want to make sure that you are planning to join us, but on November the 1st, that is the actual date itself, we will be celebrating the 100th anniversary of the Greer Fire Department. There are a number of activities that will be taking place over that weekend, especially on that Saturday. So again, we do hope that you'll be able to join us as we celebrate a true momentous event for us here in our community, November the 1st, 100th anniversary of our fire department. We did have some special guests in our community this past weekend. We continue to have folks that come in and utilize our disc golf course. We have found that it has been the site of a number of regional and upstate tournaments, but we're especially glad this past weekend we were able to host the Special Olympics. The state Special Olympics program were here in our community, and they were there utilizing the disc golf course, and it was a wonderful opportunity for us to host our Special Olympians and their families here in the community this past Saturday. We will be participating in a nationwide event this coming Thursday. It's called the Great American Shakeout. We will be doing a drill for an earthquake drill that will be taking place at 10:16 a.m. on the date of 10/16. Again, this is a nationwide observance and drill, and we are participating with our emergency management folks of our 2 respective counties as well on that program. So if you should happen to see, walk in the building about 10:16 on Thursday, you're wondering why I'm under my desk, that's the reason. But you'll see all the activity that's taking place with that as well. We are continuing to work with our Wellness Committee. October 21st, our Wellness Committee is actually hosting a wellness dinner. We do a lot of our events during the daytime. But this is an opportunity for both our employees and for our employees' spouses. So if you would like to join our folks, they'll be meeting at 5:30 on October the 21st, and we'll be recognizing a part of our wellness program and hosting a health awareness dinner on that date as well. The 21st is going to be a busy day for us. We are also hosting the folks from Kimley Horn and the associate team that's working with our community master plan. We've been distributing information throughout our community. There will be 2 opportunities on that Tuesday. One will be from 12 until 2, and then there'll also be another opportunity from 5:30 to 7:30. Both of those they'll be operating in a charrette environment, so the architects and design team will be in town all day. They'll be working on designs of our 7 identified areas throughout the city that we will be doing emphasis design work on. We encourage you, please, to try to attend one of those because what we would like to share with our consulting team are your vision of what you would like to see Greer in the year 2030 and as we get to that year and move beyond. But we will be looking at the Greer Station area, downtown, including the approaches to downtown. There are 3 sections of Wade Hampton Boulevard that are included in that. Each is focus areas. We will also have the area of I-85 and Highway 101, the area of I-85 and Highway 14, as well as the Buncombe Road area near Greer Memorial Hospital, in that area of Buncombe Road, and how it will look over the next 15, 20 years as we approach 2030. So again, it's a very, very important meeting for us. We're getting the word out to our community. We're using a lot of systems to get that word out to our community, but it is very, very important that the leadership of our community would come and share with our consultants what you would envision our community looking like in 2030 and beyond, especially relative to those emphasis areas. So again, the 21st, there'll be 2 opportunities. You can come to either one or you can come to both. But they'll be there all day, but they'll be receiving input and comments from 12 to 2, short presentation about 12:30, and they'll also be doing that from 5:30 to 7:30 with a short presentation about 6 o'clock, I believe it is. So again, we'll continue to send you information, but that is next week, the 21st. We will be also hosting our employees with an event on October 31st. Every year we do a little Halloween costume contest for our employees. It's a pizza type lunch, so we hope that you'll be able to come and join us for that. Many of you have. A new little twist, if you joined us for our safety breakfast last week, you saw a short video that our participation in the United Way campaign, we're providing an opportunity for our employees to make a contribution, but they can also purchase a pie. And that pie they can put in the face of their favorite supervisor, department head, or administrator. So we will see how that goes. That's going to be on October 31st. It should be a lot of fun. We're looking forward to that. But please do come and join us for that event as well. Open enrollment for our employees that are in our insurance program will continue through October 31st. So we're continuing to send information to everyone that's involved in our program so that they can either opt in or opt out, but all aspects of our employee benefits. The open enrollment period is the month of October, and we do need to get all of that information in by the end of the month. You should have also received information. October is obviously a busy time, but on October 30th, we've been invited to participate with the Greer Development Corporation annual meeting luncheon. That is an event that they are hosting, and they'll be doing that here in this facility. But they are bringing in the new director for the Greenville Area Development Corporation that is relocated here to our Greenville community. And he will be the guest speaker, Mark Ferris. And we're looking forward to hearing information from Mr. Ferris. So we do hope that your schedule will allow you to come and participate on that Thursday as well. Lots going on in October. I want to make you aware, this isn't something that would normally show up in one of my reports, but I think this is one that's certainly worthy of showing how we can become involved in our community as we continue to grow. One of the things that occurs, and we recognize this, is that as new development, whether it's commercial development or residential development, what we will sometimes find is that as that development is occurring, it sometimes attracts unsavory characters. It can be an environment that folks may like to try to commit larceny. to either take landscaping, or they may try to take equipment, or they may try to take fixtures that are being placed either in a house or a business. Well, we've recognized this, and we certainly work with our development community and our residential developers and our commercial developers in things that we can do to secure those work sites during construction. But one of the things that we're doing now as well is we're providing some very intentional training for those work sites. Our police department is meeting with them, providing them with some very, very intentional training, methodologies of how to better protect those sites. But we are also providing them with some equipment to help with that as well. We recognize that surveillance equipment can sometimes be a great aid in doing that. It can be something that a development may not always be prepared to do while they are bringing in equipment or merchandise. So we have that equipment, and we are training them also in how to use it, and we are installing that equipment for these sites and then rotating that from place to place as well. It's a very innovative program. I'm not aware of anyone else that is doing that type of program where we would bring equipment in. Again, I think it's extremely innovative. Hats off to our folks at our police department that have come up with this idea. They're being very, very proactive in trying to make sure that we address these types of issues before they occur, and hopefully that we can discourage that from occurring, to be a disincentive as well. We would much rather prevent a crime from occurring than trying to solve a crime that has already occurred. And again, it's very innovative, and I'm very proud of those folks for looking at that. We will be involved, your leadership team, department heads and leadership team will be involved in a staff retreat next week. We are doing that on site. We'll be here at City Hall, but we'll be involved in that next Thursday and Friday. We will be looking at a number of things, but some of those include some training in presentation skills. We will be doing some training in our ethics program and what we're trying to communicate to our employees about ethics training. We'll also be doing some review on our strategic plan, and then we'll also be receiving feedback from all of our department managers relative to what they would anticipate over the next 5 years for capital needs and staffing needs based on current trends and how we are moving forward. This is all part of our planning process as we prepare for your retreat after the first of the year. So we will be engaged in that process next Thursday and Friday. But we call it a retreat, but we will be here in town. But our cell phones will be off, so you may have to leave a message and we'll get right back to you. Did want to provide some additional information. I've received a couple of questions as we were rolling out our wellness program and revisions to our program as part of our employee wellness benefits day. When we did the benefits fair, we did some additional training with our employees about changes to our wellness program. I presented some information previously to council concerning that, but there have been some additional questions. And I wanted to certainly provide an opportunity, if you had any questions about us moving forward in that program, that we provide opportunity for those questions tonight and as we move forward. But I think one of the things that we were able to communicate with our employees as we met with them through the workshop sessions that day at the benefits fair is that yes, we have a set of 10 guidelines. And in 2015, our desire is that we would maintain that our employees would be able to reach 5 of the 10 program areas. And those include everything from meeting certain criteria for A1C, glucose levels, cholesterol levels, blood pressure levels, BMI calculation. Those are quantifiable type issues that we are looking to make sure that we are maintaining and that employees are trying to reach certain goals relative to that under standards and guidelines. But we also provide in that program a number of non-quantifiable or things that employees can do on their behalf. Things like receiving, doing the health questionnaire and visiting with the nurse. Things like attending wellness programs through our wellness committee. Things like choosing to be tobacco-free, choosing to have health screenings like cancer screenings or eye exams or dental exams or annual physicals. So there's a variety of those things that our employees can participate in. We acknowledge that we have a premium payment for all of our employees of $50 a month, $600 a year, unless that is the payment. They can choose to participate in our program, and they have the ability to, by receiving at least 5 of those 10 points, they can reduce that from the $50 to 0. In years prior, each of those categories were in increments where you could get partial credit in those. Moving forward, we felt very strongly that we needed to raise the bar, and so we made a decision that it was an all-in or an all-out program. That was something that came highly recommended from our employee group, and they felt very strongly about that. I supported that decision and included that in the program. But the thing that we try to communicate, and I think we had some success with our employees, is those quantifiable issues relative to whether it's BMI or cholesterol level or glucose levels or blood pressure levels, is we understand that there are institutional standards. Maybe it's the American Medical Association, or it's the American Urological Association, or it's any of those types of groups that would produce those types of standards or guidelines. We believe that that is a starting point, but what we firmly believe is that in consultation with our employees' primary care physician or their medical provider, is that if there are circumstances that a person is under or over in those guidelines, where there's a minimum or a max, if a healthcare professional is communicating to that employee and will communicate to our wellness nurse that that is acceptable and is good for them based on their family history, based on medications, whatever that may be, that does not disqualify the employee for receiving that point. We have an affidavit, and again, it doesn't come to the city because under HIPAA guidelines, we are not aware of any of that medical information. That is a communication between primary care physician or medical provider and our nurse. The nurse will then make that determination, but we are instructing the nurse that if physician or healthcare professional has advised our employee that while they may be outside of our guidelines, but they are certainly within the guidelines established by that healthcare professional, that is perfectly acceptable to us. And I think that's been the biggest question that we've had of folks is well, if my blood pressure is a little bit high, but my physician says that's okay because he would rather my blood pressure be a little bit higher based on my medical condition or my family history. He'd rather me do that than take medication. We understand that, and that is acceptable. But we also know that it could be the opposite. And what the healthcare professional may say is that, yes, your cholesterol is a little high or your blood pressure is a little high, and with a maintenance medication, we believe that we can better maintain that, and we believe that we can improve your health. That's what we are long-term trying to achieve. We're trying for our employees to make positive decisions about their own health that can, in the long run, have impact to their health and to our cost of providing very expensive medical insurance. So we do believe that there's a balance in there. It's not a perfect scenario or solution for us. We recognize that. We believe that there will always need to be tweaks to that program as we continue to move forward. But we did believe from when we instituted the program several years ago that it was time for us to take the next step in improving the health and wellness of our employees and having our employees take more responsibility than possibly they were doing before. This is one additional method for us to attempt to do that. We have researched this program in both the private sector and in the public sector. I don't believe that we are a leader in this type of programming, but we certainly subscribe to it, and we believe that it has been successful in other places, and we believe that it can be successful for us as well. So we modeled our program based on the city of Anderson, the town of Mount Pleasant, the city of Rock Hill. We looked at a number of places that have had successful programs. Locally, we looked at programs like Mitsubishi in the private sector. We looked at BMW as an example as well. So we tried again to look at both private sector and public sector to see where there have been successes in these types of programs, and we've tried to replicate that when and where we thought it would be appropriate for us. So again, I wanted to provide that explanation, again, a little step forward for us as we're continuing to unveil this program and to roll it out. Our employees are in the process now over October, November, December. They will be visiting with our health nurse, and this will apply to them going into 2015. We did recognize that this is new, so one of the features that we applied for 2015 as well is that because we are enrolled in October, November, December, that there could be an employee that would like to participate, but for some reason, those previous 9 months or those previous 3 quarters, they weren't able to do some of these things that we would like to have seen done. So we are providing an opportunity in 2015 that if they indicate, I didn't meet all my points, but I'd like to try, we're enrolling them in a program called health coaching. And in that health coaching with our wellness nurse, she will work with them over the next 6 months to get them to have their physical, do their blood work, visit with the nurse, visit with the wellness team with some of their programming. If we can do those things, then we will allow them to enroll in mid-2015. But that's really a one-time opportunity for us as we go into 2016, 2017. We want to continue to develop this program and ultimately enroll our dependents, our spouses, when we say dependents, our spouses in this program as well, because of the impact our spouses also have on our overall program. We are self-insured, so as a self-insured health care provider, what we are hoping is that this program for us will increase the overall health of our employees. In doing so, we believe that that will, over time, will help us maintain and reduce claim costs. And if we are successful with that, because we are self-insured, then that will minimize increases to premiums that we pay to ourselves as a self-insured program. So while the industry has seen much larger percentage increases than we have realized, we do believe that we're having success with our program, but we think there's also room for more successes as we move forward. We don't know everything relative to these types of programs, so we're very open to revising and modifying that as we continue to move forward and look to how to improve that, and we look for council's direction and input in that as well. So I wanted to give you that update, and certainly if there are questions of what we're doing or how we're doing that or what we may need to evaluate, we certainly want to take those this evening as well so that we can make sure that we're on the right path.
Mr. Diggers, the wellness program events that you earn points,
Yes.
when are those typically held and how many are there and how often?
Previously, we were doing about 1 a quarter, so we were doing 4 a year, and we were, and through our guidelines, we were asking folks to attend 2 events in a calendar year. We are recognizing, because of the nature of our work schedules, particularly shift work, where we can have firefighters who are on for 24 and off for 48. We have police that are on for 12, off for 12. They work 3 and off 4, work 4, off 3. Really varied schedules. Our other employees are more typical day employees, so we schedule a lot of those during the day. But an example is the upcoming dinner, the 5:30 event is an example of where the Wellness Committee is recognizing that we need to do things outside the norm and also to involve other folks. Their desire is, while we were this year looking at doing 4 events, 2015, it is our desire that we would do those at least every other month for a minimum of 6. We would hope that we could do a few more, but a minimum of 6, and again requiring participation in 2 of those during the year to be eligible for the credit.
And those are announced, what do you do, a blast email, or how do you announce
We post those on our employee bulletin boards, as well as we do an email blast to what we call COG employees, but it goes to all of our employees. We recognize that some of our employees do not utilize email as part of their job function. So in those departments where we've identified those folks, department managers have the responsibility of literally giving that to them. For our elected officials, for example, that would be a responsibility that either Ms. Duncan or myself would take to make sure that that is copied so that everyone is aware.
If you've had those in the past, I don't think I've been aware of it.
And that could be the case. We've recognized, particularly with our elected officials, that that could have been a miss. And so we're trying to look at how do we make sure that that does not occur. We want everyone enrolled in our program to be aware.
Well, my concerns, and I've communicated this to you, were for the employees. I just wanted to make sure this, to me, is a fairly big change. And I just wanted to make sure that we weren't setting that bar so far up there that we were going to have people that just absolutely, especially with only a quarter left to qualify,
Right.
except for the coaching program. I just want to make sure that people were not going to be able to qualify, that they were going to be able to qualify. And for really a change that covers the whole year on criteria that, in my opinion, I think we're going to have people that could never qualify for some of that criteria.
And we certainly do recognize that that could happen. Of the 10, you may recall that when I presented this originally to council, there were 9 criteria areas, not 10. And the reason that we made a modification is that when we had our insurance company, our insurance administrator, review the program, we were advised that under the Affordable Care Act that there had to be, for every quantifiable category where it was a test result, there had to be a non-quantifiable means as well. There had to be an equal number. So we had 5 of those that were based on some result of test, and we came back and we added then the assessment and the visit with the nurse where that wasn't there before. So, and we're requiring 5 in 2015. So there is the ability, without being able to have test results that meet criteria, an employee can meet all the other and still qualify. Now we recognize in 2016 we are proposing that would go from 5 to 6. We're raising the bar 1 more level, and the reason that we delayed that to 2016 was to allow that full, really 5 quarters, all of 2015 and the last quarter of 2014, as folks were recognizing and preparing for that.
Well, I support a healthy workforce, and I think it does in the long run make your insurance better. Again, I just wanted to make sure that we didn't jump from 2nd gear to 5th gear, and kind of leave people in the smoke.
Right. It's one of the things that we would certainly want to do. HIPAA is a bit of a restriction for us, but what we would like to make sure that the wellness nurse is aware is our intent is participation and demonstrated desire of the employee to improve their health. If that is demonstrated, we want to make sure that she has a great degree of leeway in awarding those points. Our intent is not for this to be a penalty issue. We want it to be a reward system. And if there is demonstrated ability, for example, I'll give this example. If the only thing that would keep someone from scoring the 5th point would be participation in the wellness programs, 2 programs over the year, and we were able to demonstrate that they really just did not have the ability or did not have the information to participate in those last 3 quarters, my instruction to the wellness nurse would be, give them the credit. Give them the credit because they demonstrated and said, yes, I will participate in 2015. I will ensure that I'll attend at least 2 of those. If there's a demonstrated desire and the ability for the person to do that, we want to give them the credit.
And I appreciate you addressing this. I think, obviously this is the route of healthcare now. It's prevention and be proactive, and I appreciate you addressing it.
Absolutely, and as we move forward, if there are issues, concerns, if you should hear from someone, maybe an issue that we're not aware of, we want to make sure that we are aware and able to respond to those concerns. Absolutely. Very good. Mayor, also tonight I would like to invite to the podium two of our community partners to share with us a very, very important announcement. Mr. Reno Deaton, Executive Director of the Greer Development Corporation, and Mr. Mark Owens, the President and CEO of the Greater Greer Chamber of Commerce, have some information that they would like to share with us this evening that I think we will find exciting, and I think we will find very hopeful as we continue to move forward. So, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Good evening. Mr. Triggers, thank you very much for just a moment on the agenda this evening. There are really 4 metrics we use to track the health of the Greer economy. We look at median household income, new housing starts, the value of new commercial construction, and gross retail sales. It's this last metric that we wanted to come and visit with you tonight and give you what Mr. Triggers, I think, very accurately portrays some very, very good, very exciting news representing the great health of the Greer community. We work with the Department of Revenue to get every year the total gross retail sales for the city of Greer. They track those on a fiscal year basis, July 1, June 30, with our connections with the COG, and get that information and compare it year by year. I'm very pleased to report that our gross retail sales for the city of Greer in fiscal year 2014 is in excess of $843 million. This is the largest gross retail sales figure we have ever realized here in the city of Greer. It's a significant increase over fiscal year 2013 by about 13.5%, a dramatic increase over our pre-recessionary high of 2008 of about 57%. And the good news continues from beyond there. We realized growth in both the Spartanburg County portion of the city of Greer and the Greenville County portion of the city of Greer. So we saw growth in gross retail sales all over the community in 2014. This doesn't yet capture much of the new commercial development that we're seeing this year that will begin to matriculate into the numbers beginning next year. And so I would say the future is very, very bright for us in terms of gross retail sales and commercial development here in Greer. Mark?
Mayor and Council, just to add on to what Reno said, it's a very exciting time now, but also very encouraging for the future as we strive to showcase how great of an economic climate we have, thanks to your leadership and the community partners. Thank you for allowing us to be here and sharing a part of this as we move forward. We'll aim to break that record again next year and keep going high, but that is a very large number and something the entire community can celebrate. We're excited to see that grow as we continue through the next year.
Steve Owens has prepared a press release on behalf of the city. I think all of you have a copy of that. We'll be releasing that to the media and the community following this meeting. Again, as Mark and Mr. Triggers and everyone has indicated, this is great news we want to share with everyone. It represents the great opportunity that's here in Greer. It represents the great job that our existing businesses are doing. And it really represents the great things that are yet to come for us here in Greer. Thank you very much.
It'll be $1 billion next year.
I make no promises, but the trend has been phenomenal. And again, the press release has for you sort of that year-by-year breakdown, and you can really see dramatically, we're 4 years of dramatic growth coming out of the recession. And again, it seems like every month, folks in planning and development are adding a new commercial construction project. You add big retailers and big grocers to the mix, and we really can see some very big numbers moving forward.
It's also very exciting that it's not always just new growth that's coming in. People that have been here established are growing as well and seeing their business uptick. So it's a great combination of new businesses coming in and our existing businesses grow that created such a wonderful number.
I wasn't being rude and answering my phone, but I did want to pull my calculator out. The Spartanburg County number, that represents about 56% of the total revenue here. Why the huge jump? I mean, that's not indicative of where we've been in the past.
The Spartanburg side of the city of Greer did show a dramatic increase year over year, 14 over 13. And we're going to continue to sort of dive into those numbers. Certainly there are a lot of factors that favor us. We've seen a lot of residential growth on the Spartanburg side of our community over the course of the last couple of years. We certainly are seeing, as Mark's indicated, a lot of of big retailers, car dealers, for instance, on the Sparkworks side, who really seem to be hitting their stride in terms of great customer service, great product mix. And I think that's a story that we're seeing all over the community and really is bearing fruit very literally for us here in Greer.
Thank you. Others? Thank you, gentlemen. We appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Mayor and council, that concludes my report. I would ask your consideration this evening of 3 items for executive session. One is legal, that I need to get convey some information to you, give some advice. And the other 2 are personnel matters relative to employees within the city. 2 personnel and 1 legal would be my request in executive session.
With that then, we'll move to appointments of boards and commissions where we have a vacancy in District 3. Do we have a nomination in regards to the Planning Commission?
Yes, sir, we do.
Well, that's great.
Finally. I wanted to make a motion that we bring Mr. Mark Hopper in. He's a resident, which I've actually actively worked with him. He's been at all of our meetings with the Riverdale community. He's very active in the city. He actually owns a business here locally, and I think I gave everyone and sent you all email of his resume. And I think he would benefit us well on the planning commission. He's definitely open to learn.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Have a motion and a second in regards to Mr. Hopper's nomination, and I will third that. A friend of mine as well, too. Good fellow and very active in our community. Great pick, and I think he'll do a good job. Any other questions or comments in regards to his service? Not hearing none. Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Arrowood.
Yes.
Mr. Griffin.
Yes.
Ms. Booker.
Yes.
Mr. Dumas.
Yes.
Mr. Bennett.
Yes.
Ms. Albert. Yes. Mayor Danner.
Yes. Council, with that, we will move to items of old business. We have the second and final reading of ordinance number 23-2014. This is an ordinance providing for certain amendments to ordinances previously enacted by the city of Greer, South Carolina, in connection with certain borrowings by the city from the South Carolina Water Quality Revolving Fund Authority pursuant to Title 48, Chapter 5, Code of Laws of South Carolina, 1976, as amended, authorizing certain amendments to one agreements between the city and the South Carolina Water Quality Revolving Fund Authority in order to provide for amendments to the reserve fund requirements for the debt service reserve funds therein, authorizing the cancellation of certain surety bonds provided by AMBAC Assurance Corporation in connection with the debt service reserve funds established for certain borrowing by the city from the South Carolina Water Quality Revolving Fund Authority and other matters relating thereto. Well, I hate the Boy Scouts missed that. This comes to second and final reading. Any additional information? I know we've got Mr. Reynolds and Mr. Tuttle with us this evening. I see them nodding their head that we are ready to go. I'll entertain a motion to receive. So
Second.
have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Questions? Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Arrowood.
Yes.
Mr. Griffin.
Yes.
Ms. Booker.
Yes.
Mr. Dumas.
Yes.
Mr. Bennett.
Yes.
Ms. Albert. Yes. Mayor Danner.
Yes. Mr. Reynolds, I will sign these papers tonight and have them for you late tonight or tomorrow, one or the other.
Thank you very much.
We'll move to item D, which is the second and final reading of ordinance number 24-2014, an ordinance to change the zoning classification of property owned by Wyatt Realty Investment Opportunity Fund LTD located on Brushy Creek Road and Buncombe Road from C2 commercial to DRD. Mr. Pace?
No new information in regards to this, Mr. Mayor.
No new information, then we will move to a vote. Well, before we need a vote, we'll need a motion and a second. I'll
So
make a
moved.
motion.
Second.
I'm running out faster than that. Have a motion and a second. Any questions of Mr. Pace? Comments in regards to ordinance number 24-2014? Hearing none. Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Arrowood.
Yes.
Mr. Griffin.
Yes.
Ms. Booker.
Yes.
Mr. Dumas.
Yes.
Mr. Bennett.
Yes.
Ms. Albert. Yes. Mayor Danner.
Yes. Council will move into items of new business, the first of which is ordinance 25-2014. This is an ordinance to provide for the annexation of a portion of property owned by Mr. Hong located at 124 Alexander Road by 100% petition and to establish a zoning classification of R10 for said property. Mr. Pace?
Mayor and council, if I can, I'll go ahead and discuss ordinance number 25 and 26 as they relate to each other and moving forward. Both of these properties contain a total of about 11 acres, almost 12. They are seeking to be annexed into the city, and they are seeking a zoning classification of R10, single-family residential. This would be a proposed development to construct 42 detached single-family homes in this area. This property currently is vacant, and the public hearing will be held on October the 20th by the Planning Commission in regards to the zoning of this parcel. I will try to answer any questions you may have in regards to these.
Floor is open for questions for Mr. Pace.
Is this part of Lismore Park, or is this going to be?
No, sir, it's not a part, it's behind it, it adjoins it, but it is not a part of Lismore.
It's not the same developer, is it somebody different?
No, sir, it is somewhat different. This developer did do a portion over at, we call it Millerville, the backside of Lismore. But again, that was attributed to Lismore and Eastwood Homes, and this would not be any part of Lismore at this time.
So the total number of homes is for both parcels?
Both parcels, yes, sir.
And the projected retail on these houses?
Again, I haven't had discussions with anyone in regards to actual cost of units, Mr. Bates.
It's quarter-acre lots, basically, what they're looking to do with R10.
Yes, so maybe, and then we'll be looking at clustering those. So the lot size will be smaller, however, the density will be no more than what's allowed with that R10 classification.
For clarification, by show of hand, is the owner of the property or a representative of the owner of the property with us this evening? Okay, we may want you to follow up on some of these questions. Other questions for Mr. Pace? Would you like to address council and give us any additional information in regards to the project?
Well, yes, sir,
You can come to the podium, that'd be great.
Mr. Mayor, my name is Evelyn Angeletti, and I'm an attorney, and I represent the developer purchaser for the property as agent for Mr. Hogg and Ms. Trotter, who own the two parcels. The reason that we sought the R10 cluster is because of the nature of the topography of the property. This allows us to adjust where houses are located to best suit the topography, as well as getting a certain density in there that also allows us to make the project viable from that standpoint. And so that was one of the questions I think that came up in connection with it. If there are any others that I might be able to address, I would like to try to.
Council.
The value of the homes there?
Well, we believe the price point will be comparable to Lismore Park, which is, depending upon the amenity packages that the individual purchasers want, will be somewhere around $225, $250, somewhere in that neighborhood. Although I don't represent the builder.
Do you know who the builder is?
I'm not sure at this point. I know that there's some discussions with one particular builder, but it would probably be inappropriate for me to even go into that, if that's all right. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. We appreciate
Thank
the
you.
information.
Thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Pace?
Nothing else?
With that, then I'll entertain a motion to receive.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. In regards to 25, 2014. Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Arrowood,
Yes.
Mr. Griffin,
Yes.
Ms. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Dumas,
Yes.
Mr. Bennis,
Yes.
Ms. Albert,
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
Yes. First reading of ordinance 26-2014, an ordinance to provide for the annexation of a portion of property owned by Evelyn Trotter located on Alexander Road by 100% petition and to establish a zoning classification of R10 for said property. Mr. Pace has informed us that this is an adjacent parcel and plans are the same. We will assume that information provided in regards to the development is the same as well. Any questions for Mr. Pace? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to receive.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further comments? Hearing none, Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Arrowood.
Yes.
Mr. Griffin.
Yes.
Ms. Booker.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mr. Pettis.
Yes.
Ms. Albert. Yes. Mayor Taylor.
Yes. First reading of ordinance 28-2014. This is an ordinance to provide for the annexation of a portion of property owned by Abner Creek Mayfield Road LLC, located at 1951 Abner Creek Road by 100% petition and to establish a zoning classification of R12 for said property. Mr. Pace?
Again, Mayor and Council, bring before you this request for annexation of approximately 35.96 acres. This would be for the proposed zoning classification of R12, single family, again, cluster development. This would involve the possible construction of 115 detached single family dwellings in this area. This area is located directly across from the Abner Creek Elementary School, if you're familiar with it, and at the corner of Abner Creek Road and Mayfield Road. There will be a public hearing held on October the 20th for the zoning of this parcel.
By show of hands, is the owner of the property or a representative of the owner of the property with us this evening? So noted that no one indicated so. Questions of Mr. Pace? Hearing none, Ms. Duncan? Oops, is it better get a motion?
Her silence says everything, doesn't it?
It's that look. Get that look at home. I'm going to entertain a motion to receive.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further comment or questions in regards to 26-2014? Excuse me, I'm in the wrong place again there. 28-2014. Hearing none, Ms. Duncan.
Mr. Arrowood.
Yes.
Mr. Griffin.
Yes.
Ms. Booker.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mr. Pettis.
Yes.
Ms. Albert. Yes. Mayor Taylor.
Yes. Ms. Duncan, just as a matter of clarification, what happened to ordinance 27-2014? Are we holding that?
We're holding that until
Okay.
the next meeting.
Thank you.
That's a good question.
That's another one to be heard soon.
Ordinance 29-2014, an ordinance to provide for the annexation of a portion of property owned by Charles Edmund Smith Jr. located on Highway 101 South by 100% petition and to establish the zoning classification of R12 for said property. Mr. Pace?
Again, Mayor and Council, again, bring before you a annexation request and zoning request for property located on Highway 101 South near its intersection of Smithwater Road. This would include also 626 feet of SC Highway 101. They would be looking again for a classification of R12, single family zoning for cluster development. This contains approximately 21.3 acres, and this would be for the purpose again to construct 65 detached single family homes. The property currently is vacant, and we would be having the public hearing on October the 20th, again for the zoning of this parcel.
Questions of Mr. Pace?
For some perspective, I see the inset in the map. Far down, how far from I-85 south is
It's
partial?
It's just north of the intersection of 296 and Highway 101, where we already have some commercially zoned property in the city right there. So it will be adjacent to that. It does touch that.
Mr. Arrowood, your question is extremely relevant. When we meet to review annexation possible annexation properties. One of the things that, while we do not discount, but we are being very, very attentive to is infill development. And in each of the cases that are brought to us this evening, as well as all the projects that we are currently looking at, all of those are our existing, they are within the core city and do not extend beyond where we currently have city limits in any direction. And all of these we are attempting to infill, and we've had great success with that.
By show of hands, is the owner of the property or a representative of the owner of the property with us this evening? Would you like to address council?
Sure, just briefly. Hi, my name is David Nichols. I'm with Gray Engineering in Greenville. I represent the developer. I think Mr. Pace told you most everything. Developer's looking for R12 zoning. The density would be between 3 and 3.6 acres. Builder is not locked in yet, so I mean, there's, if you're going to have a question about price point, I'm not going to give you that information tonight because it's not been finalized. That's still in discussion. If you have any questions for me, I'm happy to answer them, but that's the brief kind of rundown of the project.
Thank you. Council? Appreciate you coming. Thank you. Entertain a motion to receive.
So moved. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Arrowood,
Yes.
Mr. Griffin,
Yes.
Ms. Whipper,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Ms. Albert, yes, Mayor Danner.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor Council.
Thank you, sir. Council, on executive session, we have one legal matter and 2 personnel matters in regards to city employees to discuss. Do I hear a motion to adjourn to executive session? So moved. Have a motion and a second. Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Arrowood,
Yes.
Mr. Griffin,
Yes.
Ms. Whipper,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Ms. Albert, yes, Mayor Danner.
Yes. Council, in executive session, we have considered one legal matter and 2 personnel matters. Taking no action in regards to any of the 3 matters. Do I hear a motion to come out of executive session?
So moved.
Have a motion and a second. Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Arrowood,
Yes.
Mr. Griffin,
Yes.
Ms. Whipper,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Ms. Albert, yes, Mayor Danner.
Yes. Stand adjourned.